My name is Michaela. I'm currently 40 weeks and 5 days pregnant right now, so definitely extremely pregnant. And the last pregnancy update video I did when I was just a few days over 39 weeks, I believe. So I wanted to do it just a few days over, but then it ended up closer to 41 weeks instead. So I'm a mom of 3, so this will be my 4th baby, and I've also had 2 pregnancy losses that were directly before this pregnancy. And I'm definitely ready to have this baby at this point. So the majority of my newer symptoms that I am feeling are just emotional feelings. So I'm just like ready to get this baby out at this point. I have a lot of anxiety where it's just like a consuming thing about when I'm gonna go into labor. Like, is this contraction the start of the contractions for labor? Like, when I turn over right now, is my water gonna break? Like, every second of the day and nighttime, that's literally all that I'm thinking about, which might even prevent me from going into labor because I'm just thinking about it so much. And it's just been very consuming and overwhelming. But at this point, I'm definitely just ready for the baby to come out. The baby will come out healthy whenever the baby's gonna come out at this point. So I am just looking forward to when I finally do go into labor. My midwife at my last appointment at 40 weeks, she checked my cervix. I hadn't had my cervix checked since like my water breaking scare, which if you're interested in that, you could go ahead and check out that video. I'll have it linked. When I had my cervix checked previously, I was like 3 centimeters, they were guessing, but my cervix was about 50%, but it was very high and posterior to the baby's head. So like if this is the baby's head, and this is the entrance to like my vagina, like the baby's head is, or my cervix is underneath and like back here. And so my cervix was pretty high. It was very difficult for like the 3 different people that checked me to even reach my cervix at that point. So it was kind of hard to guess. They rechecked my cervix at my last appointment. It was a lot easier for her to reach my cervix. She didn't have to reach very far at all. She reached her hand in. She felt my cervix right away. She said it was very soft and mushy, and she was guessing that I was about 75% effaced now, because before I was about 50. She was able to, she kind of, not necessarily like a membrane sweep, but she was able to get her fingers in far enough to just kind of wiggle a little bit. It definitely wasn't enough to be considered a sweep. She just said that she wanted to kind of irritate my cervix a little bit. It definitely wasn't like stripping my membranes though. And so she did that. It didn't hurt at all for me. It feels like a mild cramp, but she said that I took it really well compared to most people, but I also have a really high pain tolerance, so I didn't really feel too much as she was doing it. And it happened pretty quickly, and she was able to get a good reading on the baby's heartbeat and everything. So appointment wasn't too long. Everything went good though. Baby's heart rate was measuring good. My blood pressure was measuring great, which I was worried that I was going to end up having another high blood pressure reading, but I think that that was just a random thing since I was so busy right before I had gotten there. It gave me a list of stuff called gentle nudges that I could do to get the baby here. Just little things. There were some homeopathic remedies. It was, I don't remember the terminology for them, but basically they were cohosh and cotton root bark, but they were in pill form, not the tincture form, so I guess that makes a difference. And she said that I could like take those alternately, like every 30 minutes, like a certain amount before I pump, while I pump, and then afterwards. I haven't done that yet. We went over by the store that had them yesterday, and then I completely even forgot to get them. I also drink like a lot of red raspberry leaf tea, and I'm currently out now, and none of the stores around me carry anymore, so I kind of have that option out of the way at the moment. I have been pumping every single day. since my 40-week appointment, and I have been pumping for about 45 minutes to an hour depending on how much time that I have. Typically in the morning while I'm drinking my coffee and the kids are relaxing. And that I get like a few random contractions during that are pretty painful, but then they just go away, so it's not really doing much. I've been using my birthing ball a lot. I went over to my mom's house. She has a lot of hills there, and I walked a lot of hills. I've been going on walks while the kids ride their bikes during the day, and I have been doing a lot of stuff. I've been doing like really deep squats randomly throughout the day, where if I'm just standing in one spot, I'll just squat instead to just kind of maybe bring the baby down a little deeper. And nothing is doing anything though. I do have the options. These are options to not do until after I've spoken with my midwife, and they are to, oh, and then of course they recommend like sex and orgasms and stuff on those lists as well. And so we've done everything on that list so far, besides the homeopathic remedies that they just don't have available where I live. So Garrett is actually going to be closer to an area that does have that kind of stuff available, so he's going to pick me up some red raspberry leaf tea and the homeopathic remedies today. And then on the bottom of the list, where these are like last resort type things, it did list castor oil. I know there's a lot of arguing about the safety of castor oil, but the way that I'm thinking about it is I think that they're recommending that as like a last resort before induction, and induction poses a lot of risks, so it also puts a lot of stress on you and your baby to be on like Pitocin and stuff. So I think that they're kind of pairing that with basically the next step before having to intervene like medically, and so it makes sense, you know, to do that as a last minute thing. Also because of course it could cause the nausea and an upset stomach besides your contractions, so it's not something that they want to do and make you uncomfortable if you could get the baby out in other ways before that. So that's a last minute thing. And then also taking the black cohosh tincture. I do have the tincture, and I was taking it when we thought that my water had broken, in addition to pumping. So that was that protocol that's listed last on there. They don't recommend blue cohosh. They used to, which they do recommend it in the pill form. So I don't really know the science behind that. I'll have to look up a little bit more about that, but they do recommend you could do that, and you could take up to 7 doses, and you basically just take it, pump, take it, and then afterwards take it, and you just keep doing that in a cycle. And that didn't do anything for me when I was at 37 weeks though. I have no idea if it'll do anything for me now, but I still need to try the other homeopathic remedies first to see if that'll work. Oh, and I did use my evening primrose oil once. I stuck in 3 vaginally before I went to bed. I completely forgot how messy they were, and I should have worn a pad, and I didn't. And then since then I've just been kind of too lazy to do it because I didn't really want to deal with the mess, but I guess it's better than also staying pregnant any longer. So I think that I'm just going to start doing that routinely every night. Now last night I did have a lot of contractions, and they were pretty painful contractions, and I kept having like my bowels were clearing out all night. I'm sorry if that's like TMI, but I really thought that I was going into labor, and I didn't get any sleep at all. And then they finally stopped at like 3 o'clock in the morning, and then I fell asleep, and then Garrett let me sleep until like 10. So yeah, I really thought that I was going to go into labor. But the same thing happened with my daughter, where I woke up in the middle of the night and I had close contractions, and I really thought that that was it. I even cried for some reason. Sometimes you just cry when you go into labor. I don't know. It's like an emotional thing. But, and then nothing happened. But then like the next day, I think my water broke. I think it was like a whole 24 hours where the next night my water ended up breaking. I've got my coffee right here too. My cup's leaking. But so maybe this is a sign that my body is gearing up more, because I hadn't had contractions that had lasted that long at all. They were pretty consistent too, and they were definitely tricking me more than the random contractions that I've been getting throughout the day, because they had a definite pattern to them and they lasted more than a few hours. Like, it was as soon as I laid down in bed that night, it was like 10 o'clock and I felt them until like 3 a.m. So they were about 10 minutes apart, and some of them randomly were like back to back. But then when I would change the position, they would go back to about 10 minutes apart. So it was really hard to sleep, because if you're able to fall asleep within 10 minutes and then you get woken up by another contraction, it's just like pointless basically. I didn't really get up and walk around. I did get up and use the bathroom frequently, but otherwise I just kind of laid in bed. And I figured if it was the real thing, then laying in bed would probably be the best thing to do to kind of get some rest. And they would continue whether or not I was laying down, if it was the real deal, and they didn't. So that's a good way to tell if you're actually in labor or not. If your contractions stay consistent after you've even rested, then you're probably in labor. But otherwise, my baby is so low and he is getting so big. I have no idea like how big he actually is, because we haven't had any like detailed ultrasounds like that in a long time. But he is stretching out my stomach a lot, and it's to the point where I've already had 3 kids, so I have had my stomach stretched out like basically as far as it could get. And I not only have the stretch marks that I had shown you guys that started to appear on the top of my stomach previously, but I'm getting stretch marks all over my stomach now. And they are new stretch marks in addition to the old ones. So my stomach, I think, is just at a point where, like, I think this might be the biggest that I've ever been in any of my pregnancies. I don't know if it's just the positioning of the baby or if the baby's actually going to be bigger than my other babies, but yeah, it's very uncomfortable. So my skin is starting to get really itchy. I've been using a Burt's Bees body lotion for dry skin. It's a cacao and another butter mixture, and that has worked really well until now. And now, no matter how much lotion I put on it within like the last 3 days, it's just very uncomfortable because there's just so many stretch marks. So that's something that has been happening that is new. I also, the amount of colostrum that I've been able to get out has been like a decent amount. When I do pump, I probably get out like, I don't know, like half an ounce of colostrum or something like that, which is a lot. Normally it's just like drips when you have colostrum before you have your baby, but I've been getting out a lot. And so my boobs have been more tender though since I have been pumping, because I haven't breastfed in a few months. So they're kind of sensitive right now. At least my nipples are. They're a little bit more sensitive. I did finally get the old Medela pump that I had from my mom's house, because I definitely prefer that to the Spectrum. And also the Hygia breast pump that I have, I absolutely hate, because the flanges are made for a really small chested person, I think, and they're like this way instead of like flanging out, and and so it doesn't like cut my boob correctly. It just doesn't work very well. So I haven't used that since like I used it like maybe once or twice, and then I just stopped. And then I was using the Spectra up until yesterday, and then I finally got the Medela back, and that one is great. So I started using that one, and I actually get more colostrum out with it, and my letdowns happen a lot faster with that. So I think I'm just gonna stick with that one, and then just use the Spectra as a backup. Now I was very lucky because my family had gotten the rest of the stuff that I had left over on my baby registry, so I'm supposed to be expecting some last minute stuff basically anytime. A lot of it is like baby soaps and some more breast pads and lotions, wipes, some nursing bras that I really needed, just stuff like that. But I was able to get the changing pad that I had talked about that I really wanted, where it's the one that you could weigh them on it as well. It's like super fancy. And the reason why I wanted to get that is because I don't live by a lactation consultant, where previously I did, and I would always get weighted feeds done just because I always have a lot of issues at the very beginning of my breastfeeding journey. So being in the middle of nowhere, I thought that it would be very beneficial for me to have a way to weigh my baby after feeds for the first few weeks, just to give me a better peace of mind. It helps my anxiety a lot. And then I wanted to also have a way to just track baby's growth and stuff. So that is on the way here. So I'm excited about that. Now that I am almost 41 weeks pregnant, I do have an appointment tomorrow. It's a day early for my 41-week checkup. And at that appointment, it's going to be a lot longer than my normal appointments. It's going to be, she said, between an hour and a half, because they're going to do my normal exam. And she said I could opt in for a full membrane sweep, which I'm going to. I did decide that would be best. If I haven't had the baby by tomorrow, then I would like to get a full membrane sweep done. And then they're also going to do like an NST, which is just like a non-stress test of the baby, where they're going to be hooking me up to like the machine monitor thing inside the office and track any contractions and like the baby's heart rate and stuff like that, I think. And then they're also going to be doing like a detailed ultrasound on my fluid levels. So that'll be done. And then I'll also see if I've like progressed at all, which it's not like that big of a deal, but it's kind of fun to know. So I'll be getting that checked out tomorrow. And hopefully all goes well with that appointment. My swelling has been the same. I've been getting a lot of swelling still. And at this point, I just feel like I'm swollen all over, including like in my face. I'm just so pregnant though. Like, I've been tired and pregnant. I think that's about it for my update though. Oh, I had mentioned that I had gotten hemorrhoids too, just out of the blue last time, and they've gone away, thankfully. So I don't have any more hemorrhoids as of now. So hopefully they don't come back right before the baby comes. But I'll go ahead and show you guys my belly now. Okay, so it's really hard to even get my whole stomach in the frame because it's so low. But here's the baby. My whole vagina is being covered. I'm so big. Well, anyways, you guys, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Sorry if this update was just a little bit longer, but it has just been an emotionally draining process to get up to this point. I don't know if this will be my last pregnancy update that I make, since I'm so pregnant by this point. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will talk to you guys later. Bye.